Yo, hey, this shit easy, nigga. Hey, all I'm talking about, nigga, I'm still out here trying to get it.
Contender Regime Boxing checking back in with y'all, man. What's happening? So Vasil Lomachenko was successful, put on a great performance versus Nakatani in his first fight since the loss to TEOFIMO Lopez. And he put on a great performance, man. He looked good. He looked like the Vasil Lomachenko of old. He was very sharp, very quick, very fast. He was aggressive, a lot more aggressive than he was in that Lopez fight. He really did look like the Vasil Lomachenko that we have all grown accustomed to watching, since he really started to pick up steam and get a groove and putting on great clinics versus the level of competition that he's been fighting after that Salido fight. He's been on a tear ever since then, and in this fight versus Nakatani, he looked like that Vasil Lomachenko. And I know, Nakatani has been in a couple of wars, but I won't use that as any type of slight or an excuse to take away from the performance of Vasil Lomachenko, because he went in there, he was decisive. He wasn't timid like he was in the Lopez fight. He wasn't indecisive. He was very, very aggressive, and he knew what he wanted to do versus Nakatani. He went out there and executed the game plan to perfection. And I want to give him kudos for coming out and making a statement and actually trying to put on a show and actually trying to make a point and let everybody know that, look, I'm still that guy that people put atop the pound for pound list. I'm still extremely skilled, and I still have all of my natural athletic abilities, and I can still fight at the top level. And I think that that was very important for Lomachenko, and the fans needed to see that it was important for Lomachenko, and it was important for the fans as well, so we can know what type of fighter we gonna get, whether he gonna fight whether he gonna fight Lopez in a rematch next, or it's gonna be against somebody else. It was very important for us to know what type of fighter we dealing with. I know he mentioned that he was dealing with a shoulder injury leading up to the Lopez fight. Top Rank even put out a whole documentary of pretty much Loma making excuses, saying that his shoulder wasn't all the way there. But can we really call it an excuse if he went out there and performed the way he did versus Nakatani? He didn't look like he was timid, didn't look like he was nursing any injuries. He looked extremely confident and focused in that fight. Can we really say it was an excuse if he came out and performed the way he did? Now that he's healthy, he had the surgery, he's had time to allow his body to heal, and he looked like he was 100% in that fight versus Nakatani. So can we really call it an excuse? His shoulder obviously had some type of damage to it, because nobody's gonna do a surgery on the shoulder for no reason if there's no injury. So he obviously has some type of injury, right? So I guess we can put that to rest and say it really wasn't an excuse. It really wasn't an excuse. He had something going on, and now he's back 100%. And I expect to see a different Lomachenko in the Lopez rematch. Now, I know that isn't official. Top Rank is pretty much making it a thing now, saying that Lopez and Loma is going to pretty much have a rematch, which I think they should, if neither one of them is going to fight somebody that's outside of Top Rank like Devin Haney. Of course, everybody want to see the true undisputed match between Lopez and Devin Haney, but Bob Arum has come out and been very, very adamant and loud about Devin Haney not getting an opportunity to fight Lopez. He's been very adamant about Lopez not fighting Devin Haney and pretty much just keeping everything in-house with Top Rank. And that's pretty much been the MO with Bob Arum and Top Rank for years, but nobody really speaks on that. So Lopez still has to get past Kambosos, and we'll see what that fight looks like. Kambosos is a decent fighter, but I don't really expect him to give Lopez too many issues. Just stylistically, I think Lopez matches up real good with him. But we'll see how it unfolds. That's why the fights happen, so we can actually see what the fuck is going to go down. But let's say Lopez does get past Kambosos and Lomachenko fights Teofimo Lopez next. I expect to see a totally different Vasyl Lomachenko. You will not see Vasyl Lomachenko not throw punches for the first 6 rounds. You're going to see him go in straight away and implement his game plan, and whatever it's going to be, that's what it's going to be. I expect to see a sharper Vasyl Lomachenko, a more aggressive Vasyl Lomachenko, a more decisive Vasyl Lomachenko. I expect him to be more powerful, have more pop on his punches. I expect him to let that jab go more and really set shots up. I expect to see more angles. The same Vasyl Lomachenko you saw in the second half of that Teofimo Lopez fight, I expect you to see that plus an elevated version of that. Teofimo Lopez, to be honest with y'all, I told y'all, man, I think he's a really good fighter. I think he is very explosive, very athletic, but I think he's one of those guys that peak early. To be honest with you, we probably already seen the best Teofimo Lopez that we gonna see. And that's a good version of him. That's a really solid version of him. It was a version of him that was able to beat that version that we saw of Lomachenko. He was able to get that win. He also beat Comey, and he skated past Nakatani, which I think that fight could have went either way. You could have gave that fight to Nakatani because Nakatani really did land a lot of good punches on Lopez, and he was pretty much outboxing Lopez for the majority of that fight. But, you know, of course, when it's a close fight like that, they're going to give it to the guy with the most upside and the most potential, right? But my point is that Lopez right now, with him peaking very, very early in his career at 23 years old, this is still a good version that could beat a lot of these guys. But I don't know if that version of Lopez that fought Lomachenko in the first fight is going to be able to beat this Lomachenko that's going to come into the rematch. I think he's going to have to be able to show the ability to make more adjustments. I think he's going to have to be more aggressive. I think he's going to have to throw more punches. I don't think he's going to be able to keep Loma at distance like he did in that first fight. I don't think Loma will be as reluctant to throw or be aggressive as he was in that first fight in the second fight. I'm anxious to see how Lopez looks versus Kambosos, to see if he's showing any improvement, see if he's thrown some new wrinkles in this game, see if he has added anything to his arsenal that will make me change my mind about him peaking early and just being one of those guys that was able to get to their peak early in their career. But I don't really see any more upside. I don't really see Lopez translating to 140 and 147 and just becoming some completely just a fighter that's advanced and just grown into something and blossom into something that's even way more than what he is right now. I just don't see that with Lopez. I think he's explosive. He got good size for 135, and he uses that well at this division. Got really good power for this division. I think his power is a little bit overrated, you know what I'm saying? But he got really good power for this division. And I think, with a good jab, a nice straight right, really good overhand right, good left hook, he will be dangerous for pretty much any guy that he faces at 135. And I think even going up to 140, he'll be dangerous for a lot of guys. But I don't really see him being able to compete with Josh Taylor. You know what I'm saying? I don't think he can beat a Tank Davis. I think he will have a lot of troubles with Jose Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? I just don't really see him in that upper echelon of guys once he starts to go up in the weight class, because you'll have to rely less on that size and more on skill and boxing ability. And I think he's very limited when it comes to the skill of boxing ability with the footwork, the defense. I think his defense needs a whole lot of work. They can need to work on being better with the jab, head movement, distance control. A lot of those things don't show up in this division because he got size and athleticism and youth on his side. But once he start to go up in those divisions, he's going to have to start to develop those other fundamentals, things that you seen Tank Davis display. You know what I'm saying? Things that you see Vasyl Lomachenko display time and time and again, when he goes out there and fights. So I expect that when this rematch does happen, if Lopez does get past Kambosos, when this rematch does happen, I expect to see a totally different fight, a totally different pace of fight from round 1 to round 12. I think it still will be a chess match in a sense, but you're gonna see more chess match, more dog fight. You're gonna see half chess match, half dog fight. The first fight was more so a chess match. You know what I'm saying? And that was more so because of Loma really didn't. It seems like he was very reluctant to throw punches in the first half of the fight, and he said that was mostly due to the injury. He wasn't as confident in his jab because I believe it was the right arm. He wasn't as confident in his jab, and without the jab, I mean, you really can't set shit up. You know what I'm saying? That goes for any boxer. You know, so I expect to see a totally different fight, different pace, and I'll tell you right now, man, I really do love Vasyl Lomachenko's chances going into that second fight. But we'll have to see how it all unfolds. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments. How did y'all feel about Lomachenko's performance versus Nakatani? What Lomachenko do you expect to show up in the rematch versus Lopez? If they do actually make that fight next after Lopez versus Kambosos. Y'all let me know what y'all think down in the comments, man. Contender regime boxing. I'll holler at y'all boys, man.